morning, everyone. If you're ready to travel again, you may have a difficult time getting there. Tens of thousands of airline employees are about to lose their jobs when a federal aid program runs out at midnight. Congress has not been able to agree on a new relief bill, and it's not just the airline workers who will suffer. The effects will ripple through the economy. Here's CBS's Chris Van Cleve with more.
Denisha McCluskey became a flight attendant 4 years ago. It's a career she loves and thought she'd have until she retired. But today, McCluskey is out of a job because of the pandemic.
I'm really scared about where my health will lie without having the proper health care to continue to live the life that I've been living since I've been flying.
McCluskey reveals her Crohn's disease once nearly killed her and requires regular, costly infusions. When her health insurance runs out, she's not sure what she'll do.
I worked so hard to get where I am, and I'm nervous about my health trickling. Being back and forth in the hospital again with no health care, and I'm sorry.
CBS News estimates around 45,000 airline workers are subject to furlough or layoff after the government's $25 billion payroll support program expired. At least 44,000 other employees took early exit packages, voluntarily leaving their jobs, and more than 74,000 are taking unpaid leave, preventing even more job cuts. Alaska Airlines Captain Lee Erickson and his wife Brenda, a flight attendant, accepted early retirement, hoping to help save the jobs of their 2 kids. Both work for the airline.
I just want to thank all my co-workers for the great career that they've given me, but I mostly want to thank you, our passengers, who provided me with a very long and very satisfying career.
There is a sliver of hope here, though. United and American both say if Congress is able to come to a deal in the next few days, they can reverse these furloughs. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Reagan National Airport.
And to put those layoffs into perspective, American Airlines now has 30% fewer employees than in January. Some middle and high school students in Indiana are using their engineering class to spice up some model Jeeps. The program is called Go Baby Go. The finished product goes to toddlers with disabilities to help them get around. Take a look.
Outside Edgewood Middle School this afternoon, teams of school-aged engineers are taking a normal toy car and glamming it up.
Because it has LED underlights.
But it's not just for show. Each car has improvements being made specifically to help a toddler with a disability.
Making it so that she can drive it better because she's having trouble steering the wheel.
Molly Kissling is painting a fancy license plate for Zori, who they consulted about the car last March.
And then she'd talk to us too, so we kind of knew what she wanted.
The kids are supervised by professionals in orthopedics to make their visions a reality.
Engineer, sometimes you think of things to the nth degree in really, really minute detail, but the kids have a much simpler way of looking at things.
Beyond the technical stuff,
so that he would not bang his head,
the kids add personal touches, like their favorite Disney stickers or a radio that plays just the right tune. The engineering teacher got the idea from a conference she went to a few years ago.
He talked about doing low-tech solutions that can really affect people's lives.
The cars cost about $500 each. Wheelchairs can cost thousands. It's all funded by grants. Ms. Rich Creek says the program teaches kids skills like budgeting and teamwork.
I found this on Amazon.
And also to think about others.
You don't really think about how we move, we just do. So for them, when they can't do, this makes it possible so they can.
The kids have met their benefactors before, and after a long delay due to coronavirus, they can't wait for the reveal.
It's going to be really exciting because I think that she's going to really like her car.
They plan to give the cars to the toddlers at halftime of the football game on October 16th, and Miss Rich Creek hopes that she can keep doing this for years to come. I'm Selena Guevara for WSTT 22 News.
The current call for racial equality and justice isn't new to South Angeles. The area has survived 2 racial uprisings, 1965 Watts riots and the 1992 LA riots. For 3 decades, an organization there has been at the forefront of spearheading change. Daniel Bacchus shows us how the community coalition could become a model for the nation on how to move forward after civil unrest.
Congresswoman Karen Bass knows the pain of civil unrest because she's lived it. Growing up in Los Angeles, she witnessed the 1965 Watts riots and the 1992 Los Angeles riot.
Or what do you make of this moment that we're in now?
Well, at some point in our country, we have to decide whether we're going to deal with this problem or not.
After the 92 riots, the Community Coalition, an organization she started in South Los Angeles, fought to rebuild their way.
Burning something down and destroying something, that's not healing. Healing is putting it back together.
A campaign to turn burned down liquor stores into shopping centers, affordable housing, and community learning centers.
This is absolutely the heart of South LA.
Aundrea Montez Rodriguez was 17 years old during the 92 riots.
There was a great sense of hopelessness and anger and rage that our community was feeling.
She turned her anger into action. Starting as a Community Coalition intern, she's now the vice president.
Everyday people like me, are the greatest asset of our community.
The grassroots organizing has created people power, helping residents fight for equitable schools, criminal justice, and police reform. No justice, no peace. With so many communities across the nation now dealing with racial unrest.
Doing work that is led by the people who live here, who see the beauty of our families, that really is healing work.
The organization believes it can provide a model for healing and progress. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Community Coalition is now expanding its vision to help communities across the nation. It will train activists and organizers across the country dedicated to local power building through its Center for Community Organizing. All right, coming up, don't let COVID prevent you from being your healthiest. We'll explain next on Mid-Morning. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. One study shows that breast and cervical cancer screenings dropped 94% in March in the U.S. In June, breast cancer screenings were still 29% below pre-COVID levels. CBS senior medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula introduces us to a woman who knows firsthand that early detection saves lives, that is.
What were your initial thoughts when you were told that you had breast cancer?
Well, I just said, here we go, it's my turn now.
63-year-old Norma Atwood has been giving mammograms for over 2 decades. She delayed her own routine screening in March because of the pandemic. And when she finally had her mammogram in May, she got the news she never wants her patients to hear.
Were you surprised to learn that something had developed there in the year since you'd had your prior mammogram?
Yes. But I've seen it happen many times.
And once you were diagnosed, you underwent a lumpectomy?
Yes, it was a grade 0.
Are you cancer-free today?
Yes.
If somebody says to you, I'm concerned about coming in because of COVID, I'm concerned about having a mammogram done, what is your advice?
We're safe, we take all precautions. I will even clean it in front of the patient for them to be reassured.
She works at Sutter's Alta-Bates Summit Medical Center in Oakland, California, where 4,000 to 5,000 patients have postponed mammograms because of COVID-19. Sutter Health estimates that 20 to 25 of those patients could have cancer that's undiagnosed. Atwood's grateful she's not one of them. And she's determined to help increase screenings using a mobile mammography van that will soon visit underserved communities throughout the East Bay area.
Does this make you more able to tell other women that it's so critically important that they get their mammogram?
I have always told my patients the importance because I've seen it happen so many times. So this was no different. Do not wait over a year. Come in every year.
The CBS special series School Matters looks at the unique challenges of reopening college campuses safely during the pandemic. About 20 million students are enrolled in U.S. colleges and universities this fall, and many schools are trying to crack down on fraternities and sororities after coronavirus outbreaks in some of their houses. According to a recent USA Today report, 19 of the 25 top outbreaks in the country are in college communities. Errol Burnett talked to students trying to balance safety with having a normal college experience.
This is exactly what colleges and universities don't want to see. Potential super spreader events, from crowded parties at Illinois State to packed party boats near Indiana University. That school in Bloomington has roughly 33,000 undergraduates, about a quarter of them participating in Greek life. Since mid-August, about 800 Greek life students have tested positive for COVID.
I believe that the houses that are still going out partying don't really truly understand the severity of the situation.
Maggie Mulligan is a member of Gamma Phi Beta sorority at IU.
We're going on about 40 confirmed cases in my house.
40.
Yes, 40.
According to the university, there have been dozens of cases at Gamma Phi Beta, despite cancelled social events, mask wearing in common spaces, and an entire wing of the house being used to isolate and quarantine 6 students. Mulligan encourages people to think about what it's like living in Greek housing amid the outbreak.
Think about how they're feeling right now with people all around them infected with COVID and them not knowing if they'll have it the next day. It's a terrifying feeling.
But outbreaks at Indiana vary from house to house. At Phi Kappa Tau, students are blocking off sinks with trash bags, marking off tables in the dining room and even couches as reminders to social distance. The result, not a single positive case. But next door at the Acacia fraternity, more than 80% of the house tested positive.
These are young adults who probably don't have the most well-formed prefrontal lobe and aren't really the best at kind of weighing the risk and benefits of something.
So if that's the case, should they have the freedom to hang out at frat houses?
No, I don't think so.
Adam Wenzloff is a member of Sigma Nu and president of the Interfraternity Council at the University of Colorado Boulder. That school is asking fraternities to pay more than $10,000 in fines for parties breaking COVID guidelines. Wenzloff calls that type of behavior disrespectful.
Many fraternity houses have people who work in their kitchens, people who come over to clean and to cook. And you're putting those people at risk. You're putting your professors at risk.
What's up, guys? And it's not just Greek life contributing to outbreaks. It's crowded bars and off-campus parties as well.
So everybody here has it.
These Miami University and Ohio students said some 20 people were in their house, despite limits of gatherings to 10.
You're supposed to be quarantined.
The home's occupants all have COVID.
Do you have other people here and you're positive for COVID? You see the problem?
What did you think when you saw that video?
It's a window into a larger epidemic in our society of the approach that we have toward living together in local communities and as a nation. It's not very cooperative.
Cooperation aside, University of Connecticut sociology professor Matthew Huey says it's difficult for human beings to stay distant. We're more than 6 months into this pandemic. Have we underestimated the human ability, especially at a young age, to be apart from each other?
I think so. We're social creatures, human beings. We need to interact with one another.
Now, Professor Huey says finances play a huge role here, with many Greek life organizations facing financial pressure and college campuses trying to justify tuition. So the problem persists. And Greek life organizations are hearing calls to shut down entirely under the Abolish Greek Life slogan, gaining steam amid the social justice movement. So the pressure is on. Errol Barnett, CBS News, New York.
When we come back, one woman takes a party platter and turns it into a business. We'll show you ahead on Mid-Morning.